George Parr, you're a businessman and a very generous contributor to the Conservative Party.
Look, I didn't come here to have my character dragged through the mud in this way, you know. I mean, you know, it's outrageous. You see, my children might be watching this.
No, no, there's really nothing wrong with contributing to a political party. I mean, it would only be improper if you expected some kind of favours from the government in return.
Well, I can say quite categorically that I've received no benefit whatever as a result of my financial contributions to the Conservative Party.
Good. Well, that's out of the way.
And it's about bloody time I did.
So what sort of favours are you looking for?
There is one thing that I'm quite interested in.
Oh, what's that?
Well, actually, something I've been very interested in, really, personally, for 10 days now, since I was rung up by a senior official at the Department of Transport, who wondered if I'd be interested in buying the British air traffic control system.
And what did you say?
Well, I said I was quite interested, but the one or two things I needed to know first.
Yes, such as?
Principally, whether somebody in government wasn't taking the piss.
Yes, but wouldn't people feel rather uncomfortable about handing over the responsibility for, well, the safety of millions of passengers to someone who was just going to make some money out of it?
Well, I don't see why. You know, the market, you know, the market mechanism works to decide these things. Yes.
But if you were in charge of air traffic control, then you would have a monopoly, wouldn't you? I mean, there wouldn't be any competition. And
well, I mean, they could have competition. Oh, I don't see why not. You could have several firms doing air traffic control, and as a plane came into British airspace, they could tout for business. You know, they could say, don't turn left, turn right, don't go straight on, don't get a Gatwick, the food's filthy, come and land at our field. We'll give you a 50% discount on all the runner beans you can carry away. I mean, it could work. It could work.
Well, yes, it doesn't sound very likely. And if you were a monopoly, presumably you could charge the airlines anything you wanted.
Well, no, see, there again, the market wouldn't allow that, you know. I mean, the airlines pay, obviously, for our services, but you have to give them a good, cheap, economical service. Otherwise, you know, they'd fly somewhere else when they were bringing people to Britain. But no, I mean, we're not going to make our profits by putting up prices, putting up our charges. We're going to do it by cutting costs, really. 75% of the costs of running air traffic control is labour.
I see. Cost. So you'll be getting rid of people's jobs.
Well, I mean, it's a typical state-owned company. I mean, it's heavily unionised, you know, it's overmanned, probably, and people are in it are overpaid, overqualified people.
Yes, but I mean, air traffic controllers have an awesome responsibility, don't they? I mean, it's a tremendously demanding job.
Well, they say that, but I mean, what is it? I mean, it's just standing there with two things like table tennis bats in your hand, you know, and you do this, don't you? I mean, anybody could do that, really.
No, I don't think those are the air traffic controllers. No, they use radar, you know.
Oh, yeah, well, yes. Sorry, they do that. I know that. Well, it's not much more. A little shed with a thing going round, and people in it looking at video screens. You've got two blips. One blip is one plane, one blip is another. All you have to do is make sure blips don't bump into each other. I mean, it's like a computer game. A child of 12 could do it. Well, that's not a bad idea. You could see work experience for a bright kid. They love it, you know, but more exciting than a paper round, isn't it?
Yes, but I mean, even if you downsize your workforce in this rather unorthodox way, there still would be two great stumbling blocks on the road to privatisation, wouldn't there? I mean, to begin with, the government would need a new civil aviation law, and that's legislation they haven't got time for.
I mean, they would legally need one, but they got a way around that. Instead of getting new legislation in, they're going to use the 1994 Deregulation Act for a purpose for which it was not designed, and they'll use that, you see.
I see.
But they are desperate. I keep saying they are desperate to raise this money.
But equally, isn't there an international regulation that forbids people making money out of civil aviation in this sense?
Yes, there is. But I mean, you can get around that too. You see, all they'll say is that the Civil Aviation Authority will still be in nominal control. They won't make a profit, but they'll have a contract with the private company, with my company, and they'll be allowed to make a profit. You see, it's what we call
Cheating?
Cheating, yes. If something does go wrong, if I can't knock it out, really. I mean, I'm going to buy this thing at £700 million. That's very cheap, because they are desperate to sell, you know, to raise the money for the tax cuts. So I'm going to get it cheap, and I can keep it for 6 months and sell it for the true price, about £1.5 billion. That's £90 million in my back pocket. See, it's done. It's done all the time, privatising.
But I mean, you will have to run it for 6 months, and something terrible could go wrong in that time. I mean, you could have God forbid, a mid-air collision, and you could have hundreds of casualties. I mean, what would happen?
I am dealing with that issue.
Mm-hmm. How?
I'm asking the government if they'll privatise and sell me the blood transfusion service. Then either way, I can make money.
Good, Pa. Thank you very much.
A pleasure.